the UFC. What do we have here today? UFC officially involved in class action lawsuit over $1.6 billion in damages possible, okay? Back in December 2014, a group of MMA fighters, some still active, joined together to file a class action lawsuit against the UFC and its partner company, Zuffa LLC. These representatives like Kung Lee, Nate Query, John Fitch, and others believe that the UFC used improper strategies to control the market for MMA fighter services. In essence, they're alleging the UFC paid them a lot less than they should have, and that the UFC have formed a monopoly on the professional MMA market, which hurts all MMA fighters as a result. This group of fighters is trying to represent around 1,200 other current and former UFC fighters. After fighting in court for more than 6 years, in December 2020, the court said it's planning to officially recognize this group as a class of fighters and share its written opinion about it. If the class is officially recognized, the fighters leading the lawsuit and its lawyers will represent the whole group of 1,200 fighters. Well, the court has now recognized the class to represent, which is the bout class, or fighters who compete in one or more live professional UFC promoted bouts taking place or broadcast in the United States from December 16, 2010 to June 30th, 2017. This excludes fighters who are not residents or citizens of the U.S. unless the UFC paid them to compete in the U.S. Now, with this whole thing, I can understand it because so many times we have been hearing that, okay, the UFC is not paying its fighters. That's why you could have a fight like the one that recently happened with the one that recently happened with Jake Paul and Nate Diaz. And he's getting, he's getting $20 million. It's like, wait, what? And then, because Nate lost and Jake was like, okay, how about we do it again, but with MMA. Now, and he said for pretty much the same purse, you know what I mean? So this is something that is actually pretty interesting. People can say whatever they want about Logan Paul and Jake Paul, but I'm looking at it like this. You guys are getting people paid. You can say whatever you want about them, but they are getting people paid nonetheless. So that's something that I'm like, you can't get mad at them. And what's so interesting is how Nate Diaz has actually been in the UFC for quite some time. And with this one fight with Jake Paul, he made more than he ever made in the UFC, which is crazy. Obviously, he got that amount because he is who he is, but still, you know what I mean? That's a crazy amount. And that's what, Conor was saying. He was like, well, that's why I'm going into boxing, because, you're making more money over there. It just is what it is, so that's always been a argument or a complaint that has been going on with the UFC. It's always been like okay, you guys are not paying your fighters what they should be getting paid. They're not getting paid what they need to be getting paid to be doing the most physical sport. You know what I mean? It's a very, very, very physical sport, and you're not paying people what they should be getting paid. So we'll see what happens with this whole lawsuit. Hey, I greatly appreciate if you could support me. Simply go to ebay.com. In the search bar, type in Latrice Limited, click on shops, and then support me. I have a wide variety of items on there, many of my own personal Latrice Limited items, such as candles, bath bombs, soaps, essential oil blends, lingerie, robes, so much stuff. I even have men's ties and comic books on there. Definitely support me, and do not forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.